First things first, we are not in this to lose weight. Oh my gosh, it's the hardest thing ever. Am I right? Yeah, I know I'm right, because pregnancy is hard and so many people are scared to put this information out because they'll get critiqued. Hi,
meet you two half.
Hey guys, right now I can celebrate life. Hey faithful few, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Faith. I'm a young mom. I love Jesus, I love making videos, I love working out. I'm a little obnoxious.
I don't really know what else to describe myself as.
You'll get to know me by watching my videos. So today I kind of wanted to talk about something that's a little bit of a, well, people are afraid to talk about this. So here's the deal. When you start talking about pregnancy and weight gain, you start evoking a lot of emotions. People's like responsibility and their feelings of responsibility or their feelings of like neglect for themselves or for their child. And it's just a really sensitive issue.
Really sensitive.
By the title of this video alone, people are gonna want to give me hate. And so I just want to come off, first things first, we are not in this to lose weight.
Not in this to lose weight.
We do not get pregnant to lose weight. And if that's what your goals are, X out girlfriend, because you should not get pregnant anytime soon. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Here's the deal. I just kind of want to talk real because when I was pregnant and when I was a new mom, I was Googling like, how do I lose the baby weight? And I was learning a bunch of things and kind of just had to learn them as I went along and talked to my doctor and got his advice. I was, constantly asking, is this safe? Is this good? Is this healthy for my baby? All those kinds of things. And I just kind of want to share that information with you because I feel like so many people are scared to put this information out because they'll get critiqued, that they just don't put the information out there. And then there's a lot of moms that are asking genuine questions for their own health and for their child's health, and there's just not answers out there. The story begins, we got pregnant, right? I used to struggle with an eating disorder. I plan to make videos on that. So if you're interested in my experience with anorexia and bulimia, subscribe because those are coming. It's probably gonna be like a series of my experience with eating disorders because there's just so much to share. So go ahead and subscribe and leave a comment down below that you're excited for those videos. That way I'll be more encouraged to make them. Anyway, back to the story. And I'm in my first trimester. I'm nauseated out the wazoo. I can barely get out of bed. And when I do have the ability to eat, my body does not want anything healthy. My body does not want to eat anything other than like sodium and fat. And that's probably because I'm like growing eyeballs that day. Or it's probably because I'm like making a circulatory system. All that to say, like, first of all, if you're a mom, first trimester, and you're gaining all this weight because you feel like you cannot eat healthy things like you're used to eating, I get you, and I totally understand the cravings, but I would encourage you, push yourself to eat the nutrients, even if you're not craving it, just eat it first, whether that's in smoothie form or in an omelet.
I hope I'm not making you gag by saying those things.
Put the nutrients in a form that you can handle and eat those first and then satisfy your cravings, because a lot of times, like if you're craving sugar, nuts will actually satisfy that craving. It's something about the makeup of nuts and our cravings and all that kind of stuff.
It just works.
I would say always try and get the nutrients and then satisfy your pregnancy cravings. That would just be my number one tip. Number one lesson that I learned with my first pregnancy was to do that. Second of all, I think we need to encourage other moms to focus on nutrition because yes, it's so hard. Pregnancy is like really hard. And if it's your first pregnancy, oh my gosh, it's the hardest thing ever. Am I right? Yeah, I know I'm right because pregnancy is hard and like everybody in movies makes it sound like it's super easy and like totally awesome, but pregnancy is hard. So I get you. Go eat yo ice cream. But at the same time, always stay convicted for your child's nutrition. You want to eat as healthy as you possibly can because you are growing a child, and what you eat also goes towards that child. So just keep that conviction, right? But do not keep that conviction because you're afraid of gaining weight. Don't just eat healthy and avoid your cravings because a lot of times your cravings are there for a reason. You are 100% responsible to give your child the nutrition that they need. And you are 100% responsible for growing that child. And it all depends on you, and that's a lot of pressure. So eat your chocolate, but also have that smoothie with those strawberries and bananas in them. Anyway, so I was gaining a lot of weight, and my let's say I had morning sickness from about exactly week 6 until week 14, 15, 16, somewhere around there. So it lasted into my second trimester. I remember laying in bed barfing, sitting on the couch eating barbecue chips, and eating a lot of chocolate. That's all I remember from my morning nausea. I actually have a video about that because I have special dietary issues, and so I'll link it up above. I'm like gluten-free, dairy-free, all that kind of stuff, and so I kind of talked about how I was surviving morning sickness with all of those diet restrictions. Anyway, so I was gaining a lot of weight. I gained a ton of weight. I gained about 20 pounds, I think it was, by the halfway mark, I believe. 20 pounds by 20 weeks pregnant. Yeah. So if you're ahead of that, if you've already gained more than that, no shame if you're ahead of that, or if you're farther along than that and you've gained more weight than that or whatever. But my doctor was giving me kind of a hard time. I remember, 1, it was a dude, and I'm like, dude, you've never been pregnant. You don't know what it's like. And then 2, he wasn't trying to fat shame me, but he was being very blunt with me. And so I just remember him saying that you've gained a lot of weight and you kind of want to level it out. And so I said to him, I've been running through this pregnancy. I'm a runner. I'll link some videos up above about how I was able to run throughout my entire pregnancy. I ran up until the day before I went to the hospital. I would have ran the morning of going to the hospital, but I was at the hospital. I told him, I've been running, but I would love to step that up. I'm just afraid to step up my running because I'm afraid it will take away from the baby receiving nutrition. Maybe it would be too much like bouncing. I don't know. And so I talked to him about it, and he said, what is your normal? And I said, well, my normal before I got pregnant was running 5 days a week, 45 minutes. And I'm just afraid to do that. So I stepped it down. And he said, oh my goodness, no, do your normal. That's what your body wants to do. That's what your body expects you to do. And your body's prepared to grow a child on top of that. Your body is strong. And so I was just like, okay, let's go. And so around that 20-week mark, I was able to step back up into what I was used to doing. I wasn't as nauseous, and like, don't get me wrong, some days running actually helped my morning sickness, but then other days I just didn't have the strength. I was too exhausted or whatever. And so once all that kind of went away and I got into the second trimester bliss, I was able to pick up running about 5 times a week, and it was wonderful. It really helped to curb that fast weight gain, and I kind of evened out. By my 3rd trimester, I was still running through, started to get more uncomfortable. I was just so big, but at the end of my pregnancy, I had gained exactly 30 pounds, which is at the top of the recommendation list. Like, they don't really recommend you to gain more than 30 pounds. And so I was just glad that I hadn't surpassed that. But, I mean, that speaks a lot. If I gained 20 pounds through morning sickness and nausea, and then I only gained 10 pounds through the second half of my pregnancy. So 1, I think people need to say more often, like, if you're used to working out, girlfriend, keep working out, because your body expects you to do that and wants you to keep doing that and is prepared to grow a child on top of just your normal working out. 2, I think it's important for us to communicate that, like, breastfeeding is there for a reason. And I know there's a lot of asterisks that I should put beside that. I know there's a lot of people that can't breastfeed. I know there's a lot of people who, like, their job situation, they're gonna have to go back to work and they can't breastfeed and they'll have to pump or whatever. But I would encourage you, if you can make it happen, if you can make it happen, after I gave birth, I had 30 pounds of extra weight on me, and it really probably looked more like 50 because I had lost muscle mass. I stopped like lifting and stuff. It was too much pressure on my body. I lost the muscle mass and gained probably more fat than just 30 pounds. And so I had this beautiful baby. I was exhausted. Turns out my C-section was infected, and so I was in a ton of pain. And I had to get a second surgery. That's a whole nother story. I'll link that above. At about the 3-month mark, I started seeing, like, you know what? I'm not looking like I want to look. I'm not dropping that weight as much as I want to. And my milk was so, like, creamy yellow. And so I felt comfortable, drinking more water and trying to increase my supply, because everything that I read online said, hey, the more you drink and the more you eat, the more milk you'll be able to make. And the more output of milk, the more output of calories. So here's the thing that I could just not find on the internet, okay? Yes. Pumping will help you lose weight. Like, pumping more than what your child needs. Pumping excess to just freeze and save for later will help you lose weight faster. Yes. But don't you dare pump to the point where your milk is not rich, where it's clear and it's losing the nutrients, where it's not filling your child up. If your child starts needing to eat more frequently or is more hungry or is not gaining weight, those are all red flags. Do not keep pumping and producing the extra milk because your child is losing nutrients. But if you can pump like a bottle, 2 bottles extra a day. I would breastfeed my son normal. He didn't take bottles, so literally he just always drank from me. And I would just pump about once or twice a day, just depending on what I could handle that day, and freeze that milk for the future. And it helped me because I was producing more milk. You know, it's something like for about a bottle, I was burning about 200 calories, which is significant. And so I say this with caution. If you are able to, the more milk you make, the more calories you're burning. So pump out as much milk as you can. Your body will make more and more milk, and then it'll be losing more and more weight. But don't you dare take the nutrients from your child. Don't you dare take the nutrients from your child. And your child is your first priority. So make sure you're feeding your child. Make sure you're eating nutrient-rich foods. And so at that 3-month mark, I really made sure, okay, if I'm gonna pump more, I'm gonna make sure I don't reduce the amount of food I'm gonna eat, but instead I focused on nutrition. So at that 3-month mark, I had still been kind of eating like I was pregnant. So I was eating a lot of caloric-rich foods. I was eating foods that were very high in calories but very low in nutrition. A lot of just kind of crap food. I knew I wanted to work on my weight loss, so obviously start eating more vegetables and fruit, right? Duh. But also drink more water and don't reduce the amount of food you're eating. Make sure you're constantly full and you're not going hungry.
Because if you're going hungry, your child sure as heck is going hungry.
What I'm trying to say is make sure your milk does not lose the vitamins, the nutrients, because you never want to have to then end up supplementing because your body kind of overloaded and lost its milk supply. I've heard a lot of stories of women who tried kind of pumping too much and eating too little and they lost their milk supply. And you don't want to do that. Guys, formula is expensive. So you don't want to lose your milk supply. That's on one end of the spectrum. And you don't want your milk to lose its nutrients. So I would like literally just measure by how creamy and yellow my milk was. If my milk was like super creamy and yellow, I would drink a little bit more water and in the evening pump again. But if my milk was looking clear and not very white and thick, I knew, okay, I'm overdoing it. I need to eat pretty heavy tonight. Make sure my son is getting the nutrients he needs, because that is your first priority. Before I got pregnant, I was a muscly 172. I now weigh about a pretty steady 159. I don't know what my body fat percentage would compare between beginning of my pregnancy and now, but I could imagine I have a little bit, maybe I have the same fat percentage, but I definitely have less muscle on my body. And so, that's what I would say is like, yes, I lost weight while being pregnant, but my body doesn't look exactly like it did before. My skin's stretched out, my boobies look different, you know, all that kind of stuff. You're postpartum, you're trying to lose that baby weight, and you have these high expectations of that chick on Instagram whose picture is photoshopped and her body looks the same, or that random hybrid unicorn lady who's had like 5 kids and looks like she's 16. Not everybody is like that, and that is so okay. What you are watching this video for, I hope, is to make sure that you're being as healthy as you possibly can be for yourself and for your child. And as long as you're focusing on that, girlfriend, pump away. As long as you're focusing on that, eat away. Make sure you're getting that nutrition. It's always so important to get your nutrients. Then praise God when the pounds start dropping, because they're going to. Ooh, before I forget. One huge thing, I was getting up, no lie, at 3 a.m. to go to the gym to fit in my runs. I was already getting up like 3-4 times throughout the night, right? So I was getting like no sleep. And because of that, my body was retaining the weight, because it's a chemical hormonal thing. Like if you're not getting enough sleep, your body starts going into kind of like survival mode, and it's going to retain the energy. What is the energy? The fat. The weight that we carry. And so I wasn't losing weight. Literally within 2-3 weeks, I saw my weight just start dropping when I focused less on getting to the gym and more towards eating nutritiously and pumping, making excess milk. And so I just encourage you, if you can breastfeed, girlfriend, go for it and make as much milk as possible. And then if you can work out, go for it. If it means downloading the 7-minute workout app and doing it during nap time, do it, because just getting in a sweat, eating your nutrition, producing as much milk as you can while it's still nutritious, is some of the best things you can do for your body to start, so that it stops thinking about gaining weight and holding on to weight and holding on to energy, and starts thinking about trimming down. You have to tell your body, we are good. We have all the nutrition we need. We have all the sleep we need. You can let go of this excess weight. And your body will be like, I've been waiting for ages. Let's drop this. Okay, so I hope this is encouraging for you. There are probably so many things that I've forgotten to mention. So comment down below your questions and I'll be so happy to answer them and give you as much information as I know about this. One more thing I should mention is I have heard that future pregnancies can be harder than the first. So you might lose the weight super easily with the first child, but not super easily with the second, third, fourth, whatever. And so there's a caveat. Like if you're on baby number 5, maybe your body hormonally wants to hold on to that weight. I'm not sure. I haven't been there. I don't have any experience for that. But if you do know about that, comment that down below. I had a very positive experience losing my postpartum baby weight once I started doing those 3 things. Eating nutritiously, drinking a lot of water, working out, getting sleep, and pumping just a little bit more than what my baby needed. Pumping for tomorrow, pumping for the future. Once I started encouraging my body to produce more milk, the weight just started falling. I noticed a huge difference. And so be encouraged. If you're at this point where you feel like you're hitting this glass ceiling of I can't lose the weight, my body's just holding on to it, I'm gonna be this, fat mom, depressed, for the rest of my life, be encouraged. Girlfriend, go take a nap. Go eat as many vegetables as you can fit into your mouth. Drink a ton of water, more than your body weight of water. So if you weigh 172, you want to drink at least 172 ounces of water. I was drinking about 200 ounces of water a day. And that is super great. Just drink as much water as you possibly can a day. And your body's going to start focusing on producing that milk, shooting your calories through your boobies, literally. And just remember, tell yourself, ask for God's blessing and tell yourself, I'm going to lose that weight. It is coming off. And then do whatever you can in your wisdom to take care of your child and also lose your weight. Don't lose your milk. Don't let your child lose his nutrition. Don't let your boobies start producing water instead of milk. But the weight will fall off. And I'm just speaking that over you. It's gonna come off. But yeah, comment down below if you have any questions. I'd love to answer them. Comment down below how many months you're postpartum and what your goal is. How many pounds you want to lose, or if you want to start drinking more water, whatever it is. Comment that down below. I love reading other people's goals because it makes me start to think, oh yeah, I want to do that too. If you like content like this, consider subscribing and definitely like this video so that you can find it in the future, because I guarantee you're going to want to watch this again. Okay guys, thank you so much. Consider joining the faithful few. That's what I call my subscribers because they're few. There's not that many of them, but they're faithful. They're sweet. They comment and they're full of me, full of faith. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day and stay faithful.